For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Josh and I'm from the Good Brothers Trading Academy, and today we're talking about GE. We broke down the charts earlier this week. I want to get into it. I want to show you where my entry was and where I expect to get out of this stock. Okay, GE. So first, let's give a shout out to Austin in the chat for pointing this trade out. He's the one that found it. We looked up the news, realized that there was something to it. And let's go ahead and break it down. Now, I want your guys' opinion on this one. When we're looking on a weekly time frame, we do get this fairly decent pattern. And what I like about it is we get these bottoms being put in right here, right? We get this, we're kind of starting to form this base. We get these higher low setups and then we get this pattern where it kind of drops down, it goes sideways, puts in like a bear flag and then drops, okay? And then we get this curve pattern coming around, but then we get stopped, right? Technically this curve pattern should have went probably something like this, and then the stock continues down. But it did not. And so what we're looking at is now we have this change in momentum. We have this push down, a push up, push down, a push up. So you can kind of see how we're getting these like lower highs, right? Well, then we get this change in momentum. We get this big, strong push up. And there was some clear sellers here. Push the stock down, but now let's look which direction this thing is starting to curve. Okay, so we went from going like this to now going like this. Okay, so we kind of put in this like J-hook looking pattern, right? Depending on whatever you want to call it. So we get this kind of round bottom, and now we're kind of pushing above some of these really significant resistance. This was a significant resistance. It got stopped here, right? This is where that bottom, this is where it came down, got rejected from, curved around, and completed its pattern, right? So what we're doing is now let's look at the daily chart. And this is what I like today. So in the chat, actually, before leaving the weekly, we were talking about this earlier this week. And I said that I like this push up, but I wanted to see it consolidate. Maybe until like Tuesday or Wednesday is what I was thinking. Before, so we get another weekly candle, maybe it closes somewhere in here like this, and then what I was wanting to do is have like a sell-off maybe into this zone here, maybe even this zone, then buy it, and then let the breakout happen throughout the week. That probably would have made it a little stronger, etc., etc. And this is kind of what I'm thinking is, and this is what I want your opinion on. So if we look down at the daily chart, we do get a nice pattern. We get ourselves, if you want to call it something. I'm more of a price action guy, but we all have names for stuff. So we get this cup and handle, right? Where we get the cup, this nice pattern like this, and we get this handle shape. We'll see this pattern happen over and over, but realistically all it is, buyers are coming in at higher prices, expecting the price to continue. We like it. We want to invest in it. It continues. Now, speaking of likes, why don't you do me a favor and hit the like button? Also, leave any comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can break down the tickers for you guys and do Q&As every night, okay? So once we get the cup and handle, now we can go to another a bigger time frame. Let's look at the 3-hour time frame. I love the 3-hour chart, and it kind of gives us a little bit of an idea. Now we put in these zones. We talked about the zones. We like that it held this price zone here. We get a push up, a consolidation sideways, and now we're getting the move. But look at how extended already this move is. This is what I want your guys' opinion on. If it continues to push, this was part of pre-market, etc. So we have this flag put in. We can see that. I'll draw it out for the new guys. So we get this flag put in. We get the pull up. We're into a buy zone. It makes sense. We're putting a flag above the buy zone. So we're going, okay, we're seeing happier stuff going on. Now, I mentioned we wanted to see price get above this $7 range. This was a clear sell zone at one point. So we want to see what happens, and we want to see what kind of momentum. Now, the reason why the stock is moving at all is because we had news on it. So we had the analyst upgrade earlier this week, but now we got news, and the real news is that Boeing is going to be able to start selling their airplanes again. And GE is a big manufacturer for the motor. So it's good news, but only the UK at this point has, or Europe, has okayed the engine to fly. We still don't know if the U.S. is going to like it, so the chance, there's still chances that the news won't stick with GE. So first off, do you guys think the stock's overextended already? Now remember the daily chart. It had a nice pattern put in it, but the 3-hour charts sure made a push. And the reason why I'm looking at this, and this is important, is when does this chart ever push up this big, right? So we have this push. We have a pretty much an equal push. So symmetry's played out. There's a huge role, or symmetry plays a huge role in the market. Push back, right? So we may be able to make it up to here. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. I hope just for a consolidation sideways and then a blast off again. This huge move, okay? So we're kind of seeing that we don't know how much further it's going to really push. It's already put in a heck of a move because of pre-market, etc., etc. So what do you guys think? If you want, break down the charts for yourself. Let me know in the comments below what you're thinking. And now let's look at the hourly time frame. And this is kind of what I'm watching. So we get this kind of J-hook looking thing. There's another weird pattern name for you. And we push up and we continue to move. Now, what made me join the trade and where I decided to get in is kind of what I wanted to go over. Now, there was a couple people in the chat that didn't know where to get out of their position, so I'm going to touch on that real quick. Now, I have this and when to get in their position. They were asking where my targets were, and my thought process on this is I don't want to give you a fish. I want to teach you how to fish, and so you can trade for yourself. So it's more important for me. I'll give you the alerts. I'll say, hey, these are my ideas. I'll tell you where my buys and sell zones are, but you have to learn the technicals. You need to know where you're right in the trade when it's holding whatever zone or support or resistance, and you have to know when to get out of the trade most importantly. Because if I cut my losses and you guys don't, then you're just going to have these big losses, and then it's my fault for not telling you when to get out of the trade, right? So these are the rejection points. This is why I put the yellow or gold line here. This is where stock price had a hard time getting over. This is where we found buyers and sellers struggling at. It was in this zone here. We found rejection here, found buyers pushing the stock price up until it broke down, and then we got the big rejection here before the big sell-off. Okay? So, and same thing. As it's coming up, we see consolidate right before the zone, gets in the zone. Once it's in the zone and it holds, that's the point of the zones. It runs. We put in another flag sideways and it runs up again. You can see how it gets underneath the zones and hits the bottom sides and runs down. Okay, so I just break down the chart so it makes sense to me, so I can understand direction in the trade going, look, we're failing these price points, and we've failed here before, or we've used this price point before as a support or resistance, and then the stock puts in whichever move we're following it. Now, what we like on GE is the news, but what we don't like on GE is that it's overextended and that the news may not stick. Okay, so if the U.S. goes, man, we think Boeing's junk, then what's going to happen there? The other thing is they gave the okay to buy the plane, but who's going to buy the plane right now in the pandemic? Is American Airlines looking for planes of some sort because they think that the pandemic is going to get better, or are they so full with what they have going on right now with all the flights happening and everything? Is there really going to be somebody buying the plane? So what happens? So the news, yeah, we get it. We jump all over it. The market's been crazy right now. We're running strong. So what we're doing, we're still in the trade. Let's go down to the 5-minute time period. I'll show you what we have going on. When I decided to get in trade, I was preoccupied with Chewy. I actually took a loss in Chewy today, and while I was watching Chewy, I did not see that this zone was holding. I wished I would have got into this price point here, but I'm not a big fan of chasing, so once it pushed up, it's no problem. I went ahead and got in once I saw that this zone was holding right here, above this zone. The higher it held, the better off it was for me at that time, and it proved to be correct. Now look at how we're getting this rejection up here. So we got in, our fill was at 709. It wasn't a phenomenal fill. Our stop loss is 717, so we're going to make money in this trade regardless, but we do want to give it plenty of room. Okay, so the reason why we want to give it plenty of room is because we just got to close on the 3-hour time frame, and as long as it continues to hold and it doesn't really dip below 720, which would be down here on this gold line. That's where we had a hard time getting over before. That's where we saw those rejection points. If it holds 720, we could scoop it up and continue to run later today, or we can make the move pre-market, okay? But needless to say, our stop loss is put in. We want to give the stock plenty of room. Our stop loss is put in at the 720 level, 717 actually. So we'll make money regardless. Not a lot, but we'll make some. And then if it obviously continues, we'll make a fair amount as well. Recently, when the news hits, it does have a nice continuation. I'm hoping that it does continue moving, obviously, and continues. But what do you guys think? Is it overextended at this point? Are we? Is the news going to stick? What do you think about the planes? First off, is there going to be buyers for planes? It's like being in the middle of winter. Is there going to be buyers for motorcycles? Probably not if there's snow on the ground, right? If you live in that type of area. So leave some comments in the comment box below. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video.